Hello dear students, I am Dr. Garima Srivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. We are going to take up the topic of international transfer and repatriation strategies part 1. It is a topic related to international human resource management. So, for this purpose we need to understand what actually the transfers are. We are all aware as human resource management students that what transfer is. Transfer actually involves shifting of an employee from one job to the another. Now, this shifting of employee from one job to another can be done within the organization or from one organization to the other. Like for example, say some organization is having a subsidiary outside in some other country. So, transferring of an employee from the home country to the subsidiary in that host country can be called as a transfer. Now, transfers are very quite common in all the organizations. Why? Because it is somewhat related to performance of the people who are being transferred. It is also related to increments. It is also related to salaries sometimes. So, transfers plays a very important role in the organization. Yoder and others in 1958 defined that transfers are the lateral shift causing movement of individuals from one position in an organization to the another. Now, shifting of individuals from one position to the another and that to lateral shift is an important aspect of transfer. Now, lateral shift means shifting of the employee at the same designation level as he was in the organization structure at the home country. So, we need to take care that if an individual is being shifted from one part of the organization or from one position in the organization to the subsidiary part of the other organization. So, over there it is important to see which kind of position will he be offered, what will be his designation in that organization structure, and accordingly if the designation changes what will be the compensation package. So, we can say that transfers are automatically related to compensation package, it is also related to performance of the individual, and ultimately it is related to the productivity of that individual. So, it becomes an important part that human resource management defines transfers in a very important way. So, we can say that transfers are shifting of person or deploying of one person from the home country to the host country when we talk in terms of international human resource management. So, over here transfers we are taking in aspect in context of international aspect where people are being transferred from the home country to the host country. So, over here why transfers become important, because once the person is transferred from the home country to some other country, many other external factors come into play. Now, these external factors we can say like cultural change, language change, or a type of management style that is to be adopted by the person is altogether a change when he reaches the other country. So, that is why transferring a person, a suitable person who is most willing to go to the other host country and filling up his responsibilities in that country is important. Just transferring a person will not do it, because transfer should be successful enough, and for that success it is important that the person who is being transferred takes up the responsibility of performing all the functions in the international aspect. So, over here we are discussing what is actually the purpose of transfers in the organization. So, very important aspect, the very first one is the effectiveness. Once we called what is related to the effectiveness of the employee is his performance, is his style of management, is his adaptability in that host country. Now, altogether I am talking about the purpose of transfer in the international context. So, effectiveness altogether means that how a person is able to apply his leadership skills, his managerial skills in that host country altogether, and fulfilling the job that he is being assigned. Secondly, we can say the purpose of transfer is to reduce the monotony of the job. Now, sometimes people continuously do similar kind of jobs in an organization, and it is directly related to the monotonous nature of the job. So, to remove this monotony, to remove this boredom of the job, a person can be enriched with different kind of responsibilities. He can be enriched, his job can be enlarged with different kind of responsibilities. So, this transfer can help him to reduce this job monotony. Then comes the versatility. It means that the person is more and more becoming flexible, he is being able to adapt himself to the different changes in the organization. Like for example, a very good example is of the banking sector. Over there the people who are working at different positions in the bank, they keep on rotating themselves, their jobs are kept on rotating. Why? Because bank wants that the people are multitasking, the people are multi-purpose, and so they become more and more flexible, and they can handle almost all kinds of the jobs in the bank. Then comes employee adjustment. Now of course, when moving from one position to another in the same organization, when talking about the home country only, it involves a lot of adjustment. So say how much adjustment will be involved if a person is moving from home country to the host country, because this movement will involve a lot of different external factors which will come into play, and the individual needs to identify these factors and analyze them at the earliest, so that he is able to adjust himself in the host country. Then comes human employee relation. Human healthy employee relations, it will also lead to healthy relations between the employee. Why? Because the employee will continuously think that the organization is thinking about him, the organization is thinking about his growth, and that is why the relationship between him and the organization will become more strong. So transfers ultimately strengthen the relationship between the employee and the organization. Transfers moreover are related to dealing with changes when person's ability are checked out. So the person who is being transferred from one position to another, he becomes more flexible, he becomes more adaptable, and he is able to deal with all kind of changes that come along with this transfer. So, summing up all together, we have the purpose of transfers. It increases the efficiency of the organization as well as the individual. Secondly, it increases the versatility and the competence of the key position. So, of course, when he becomes more and more flexible, he is able to adapt himself, he grows in his skill sets, and while growing in his skill sets, he becomes more and more competent as compared to the other people in the organization. This person is able to deal with all kinds of fluctuations that come along in the work requirements while changing from home country to the host country. Now, correct incompatibilities in the employee relations, many times we see that people are not able to adjust with the organization, they are not able to adjust with the peer group when they are being continuously transferred from one position to another. Now, of course, if you are having a kind of conflict, if you are having a kind of say a dispute amongst yourself at one particular office, then this transfer can sometimes help out so as to bypass this conflict or to suppress this conflict to a certain extent. Though this cannot be an exact solution for the conflict should be resolved at that particular moment itself. Sometimes due to sometime erroneous placements are done in the organization, where people are not placed at the right position in the organization according to their skill sets. So, this transfer definitely will help the organization to place this person who has been wrongly placed at some place, at some position in the organization, at the correct position whatever he is deserving. Second, sixth one is to relieve monotony. Of course, this relieves a lot of job monotony from the job responsibilities, job skill sets of the individual. It adjusts the workforce tries to adjust himself to according to the changes in the environment, changes in the job, and he becomes more and more flexible. Lastly, we can say to punish employees. Sometimes transfers can be done to punish employees when employees are not giving that much productivity, or they are not able to work in an environment where they are placed. So, transfers definitely help in such kind of situations where person if his place is changed, if his position is changed, if he is transferred from one organization or one state to the another state, he can give more and more productivity, or he will be definitely thinking in his mind that why has he been transferred from this position to that particular position. So, definitely the next time he will try to give out more productivity. Then it limits taking advantage and sole control over the seat or the section. Now, we have often seen that once an employee is placed in an organization and he keeps on working for a very long time, he enjoys a sole control in that particular organization. So, to reduce this limiting advantage of this particular person, we can definitely transfer him from one place to the another. Though his leadership skills can be used at some other place, but the sole control or the seat of authority will definitely change. Then sometimes we use transfers to avoid favoritism and nepotism in the organization. This is related to the 9th point. Why? Because once a person is continuously working at one particular place in an organization, he starts enjoying this position, he starts enjoying his authority at this particular place. So, it may lead to favoritism, it may lead to nepotism. So, to reduce this, we can transfer this person who has a good kind of leadership skills to some other place where he is required, to make him conversant to different seats of work. So, transfers can make him multi-purpose, can make him multitasking at the same time. So, this transfer can help him to take feel of responsibilities of different kinds of job within an organization. Then, to maintain healthy relationship between the staff members and retain harmonious environment to avoid unnecessary disputes. Now, moving ahead, we need to understand why is employee transfer so important. We have already discussed the purpose of transfer, but this purpose are done due to certain needs or certain importance of employee transfer. The very first one is to minimize the politics between the employees. Transfers play a very important role. They can be a very important, you can say, object or method or measure to minimize the politics within the organization. Why? Because when people start forming groups after a long time in an organization, this group formation may lead to politics, this may lead to rumor formation in the organization. So, breaking up these groups, moving people from one position to the another, or transferring them to some other places may increase the efficiency, may increase the productivity of the employees, and altogether it will decrease the politics that was being created while forming groups in the organization. Secondly, it ensures cordial relationship between the employees. Now, once you are not being transferred from one place to the another in an organization, you start forming groups, the people start forming groups which are separate from professional groups. So, you do not try to mix up or mingle up with other people in the organization or other employees in the organization. So, this transfer may lead people to make cordial relationship with the other people, other employees in the organization who are located somewhere else in other parts of the organization. It increases the transparency of work. So, if we start working with other people, if we start working in different environment and transfers are continuously done in the organization, it will increase the transparency in the work that was being done by the last employee, and similarly when this work is carried forward by the other employee who has taken this position in the organization. So, it will increase whatever work was being done, it will reveal the information that was being done by the last employee as compared to the employee who has recently joined the organization. To obviate syndicate of employees for unethical purpose. Now, of course, it reduces the formation of groups, it reduces the formation of different you can say political groups within the organization where unethical purposes, unethical practices may happen. So, we should continuously, as an human resource person, we should continuously check out that these group formation as far as they are professional in nature are good, but once these groups become social, then in that case it may lead to unethical practices, it may lead to politics in the organization. So, these groups should be dismantled or they should be segregated in different places. Then to obviate nepotism in the organization into increased transparency. So, once we have fulfilled the objective of decreasing the nepotism in the organization by breaking up the groups in the organization, the transparency level between the employees will increase, because people will work with different individual every time. So, they will try to adjust with the people, they will try to give up real information, they will try to give up transparent information to the people who are requiring this information. On the other hand, if they are working in groups, they may hide some of the crucial information of the organization. So, to bring more and more transparency and reduce the nepotism, transfers can be taken up. Now, we have discussed so many of the advantages of transfers, but definitely transfers have some of the drawbacks also. So, very first one, employees have attachment with the organization and may experience disturbance in their morale. Now, sometimes where there are no groups, the person keeps on performing on his highest level of say experience sets or skill sets. Over there, in that situation, the people the employees start feeling the disturbance in his morale. His morale can be decreased, he may his motivation may be decreased due to transfer, because he may think that this transfer is a punitive action of the organization. So, whenever we are pursuing transfers, they should always be accompanied with a kind of feedback that needs to be given to the employees, telling them clearly, very transparently, that these transfers are not a way of punishing them, it is a way that they are being given an opportunity of growth in the organization. Secondly, there may be pressure of shifting the entire family to the new location. Now, of course, once transfer come a long way, the employee, he continuously starts thinking that how is he going to shift to the other place, what will happen to his family, how will he shift his family, where his children are going to study. All these pressure will come along the transfer. Now, this particular problem can be solved by when an organization intervenes in the personal life of the people. They assist the person, they assist the employee in getting the admissions, in getting the residence at that particular place. The organizations have come forward in helping the employees in meeting out these particular problems once they are transferred from one place to the another. Then thirdly, employee transfers will bring increased cost to him by way of shifting his household or furnitures in transportation. Now, of course, when we talk about transfer, either it is within the home country or from a home country to the host country, it will definitely increase some cost to him as well as the organization. Now, this cost can be called as expatriation cost of the organization when we talk about international context, where organization takes up the responsibility of meeting out all his costs once he reaches the host country. Now, on reaching the host country, where will he live, where will he stay, how will his family accompany him, where will his children study, all these responsibilities will be taken up by the organization itself in the host country. Then comes employee transfers may sometime lead to resignation for a reason that he may not be willing to leave the current position. Now, suppose transfers have been accompanied with a proper feedback that this transfer is not a punitive action. Still, some employees are not satisfied with this particular feedback of the organization, and these if he is not able to adjust, if he is not willing to leave his present position, the employee tends to resign, he tends to leave the organization as the earliest. So, there may be a risk of losing potential employees, skilled employees from the organization. So, transfers, if they are done, they should be very carefully done, and choice of candidates should be also very accurate. So, we have different types of transfers when we talk in international context, like we have shift transfer, rotation transfer, replacement transfer, remedial transfer, production transfer and penal transfer. Now, moving along, the very first type of transfer, that is the production transfer. Such transfers are made to meet the company requirement. The surplus employees are in one department or section who are efficient may be absorbed at the other place. Now, production transfer exactly means that wherever the employee is needed, he will be transferred to that particular position from one part of the organization. Now, this is often done when we have surplus of employees at one place and deficit employees at the other place. So, of course, when we have surplus employees, the level of work, the load of work will be lesser in that place, because there are too many of the employees to handle this particular position. Now, over here this may not may be related to compensation package also. So, in these cases the production transfers can be done where the organization sees that these surplus candidates, these surplus employees from one part of the organization can be transferred to the other part where they are actually required, and their skill sets will be optimally utilized. Then comes the second type of transfer, that is replacement transfer. This type of transfer take place to replace a new employee who has been in the organization for a very long time. Now, this actually happens when more and more politics come into play and more group formation come into existence in an organization. So, we need to replace some of the members of this group to some other place. This kind of replacement, this kind of transfer is called as replacement transfer. Now, here we need to understand that the word replacement is used because the same skill sets of the employee has to be checked out, which person will replace whom over here. Then we have the third type of transfer, that is versatility transfer. It is also known as rotation. It is made to develop all round employees by moving them from one job to the another. Now, the organization categorizes the job and they categorize the similar kind of jobs in one particular category. More and more rotation of the employees is being done in this particular category. So, this kind of transfer is called as versatility transfer because the people are more flexible while moving from one position to the another position. So, and they also develop their all round personality, all round skill sets related to that particular job, as I have given an example of banking sector. Then the fourth kind of transfer is personnel or remedial transfer. As the name suggests, it is a transfer that is to rectify mistakes that was being done while selection and placement was done. Now, sometimes while selecting the people and placing them at the position they are being chosen for according to their skill sets, it proves to be wrong. We place a wrong person at the wrong place. Why? Because we have not analyzed the skill sets at the earlier part. So, when time goes on, then organization comes to realize that yes, this person can be more efficient, he can be placed at that particular place. So, this can be rectified through this remedial transfer. He will be transferred from his present position to the position that he is actually deserving. Then comes the shift transfer. Shift transfer, it is pretty common where more than one shifts are run in an organization. So, a person can be shifted, a person can be moved along from one shift to the another. Then the last one is the penal transfer. As the name suggests, this kind of transfer is used to penalize, it is used to make penalties or give punishment to the employees, where organization checks into the fact that the performance of an employee is not well enough, and according to this performance he will be more productive if he is transferred to some other place. So, the very next point is transfer policy. Now, understanding the policy of the organization is important, and transfer should be based on some of the rules, ground rules for the organization. Now, these ground rules are called as transfer policy. So, whenever you plan a transfer in the organization, it should be according to the policy that the organization follows. Now, why is this policy important? Because when we have the ground rules, there will be more transparency among the employees, and they will not feel cheated, they will not feel that the decision of the organization is biased. So, a proper transparent policy is important as regards to transfer in the organization. Now, transfer policy. A sound personnel policy requires that there is a clear transparency policy regarding transfers. If there is arbitrariness in the policy, sometimes superiors may misuse the transfer for their own personal reason. They may use this transfer, to bring about fear in the employees, they may use this transfer to instigate the employees to do something wrong in the organization. So, according to Professor Subba Rao, a systematic transfer policy should contain the following features. It should clearly indicate the types and circumstances under which the transfer is being made. So, this will come along with the feedback. You will definitely tell which type of transfer is it and under what circumstances, what basis, what standards your transfer has been made. So, sometimes transfers can be related to promotion, transfers can be related to increase in compensation, it can be related to increase in salary of the employees. This particular purpose of transfer needs to be transparently told to the employees in the organization. Secondly, it should state the frequency of transfer and minimum time period between the transfer. Now, whenever transfers are being done or a person is being hired in the organization, at that point itself the human resource department should clearly state the conditions of transfer, how frequently the person will be transferred and what will be the duration between two transfers to the employee, so that an employee is well prepared in his mind that when his transfer will occur, and of course, he will be prepared to take up the challenges of the new job. Though it should tell who will be responsible for initiating or approving the transfer. It should indicate the criteria or basis of the transfer. Like I said, it can be merit, it can be skill, it can be experience, and it should be followed very strictly and transparently to the people in the organization. It should point out the effect of transfer on the pay and seniority. It should directly be related that how far transfer will affect the compensation package and seniority of the person. It should indicate whether the transfer is temporary or it is of permanent nature. It should make provision for timely communicating the transfer decision to the employees. It should specify the area of the organization over which the transfers can be made. Now, all the areas or scope of the transfer will be apparently or transparently told to the employees. So, these particular transfers of an organization of an employee in from one place to the another, they should always be based on a clear and transparent transfer policy in the organization. Thank you for watching. Thank you.